It's Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods.
50. Six at a time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It's a Thursday, and despite the smoke, I swear I can see the weekend from here.
Today's show is sponsored by Home Defense Paperweights. They look like rocks, but, well, they're actually rocks.
Just don't throw the pet rock, the poor thing.
Warning, this show contains reference to guns, liberty, limited government, low taxation, the cult of climate change, free thinking, cigar smoking, short people, rubber chickens, Karen's bureaucracy, liberal buzzwords, tour runs, traffic, toilets, terrible jokes, and more. No apologies will be issued. Guest callers may express any opinion they want without fear of being canceled. Unless you're a loudmouth jerk like Dave, then Glenn will hang up on you. Strap in, hold on to your coffee, and feel free to participate.
This disclaimer does not refer to every person named Dave. Just one particular Dave from San Francisco. We know a lot of Daves. They call this show all the time, and they're great people. So don't call this program and complain that we use your name. That would be a real Dave move, Dave.
On the smoky front, just real quick, yeah, it's been kind of nasty for the past week or so here. One more day of it, and then things improve quite a bit. So today's temperatures are a bit on the high side, higher than it's been in a while, and yeah, there's more smoke today. But then, and you'll hear this with Don Day's forecast, not just at 6:45, but I'll talk to him live at 7:45 about it. Then the wind direction changes, some moisture comes into the area. So between a change of wind direction, moving a lot of the smoke out, not all of it, but most of it, and then the rain comes down with some just scattered thunderstorms, so you may or may not get it. That scrubs the air. And so we'll be in a much better position as we get through the weekend. Temperatures drop as well. That's all good news. All right. Last night, I know a lot of you heard that the president was going to be speaking. Now, whether you watched it or not depends on whether you like to stay up and torture yourself. Because I do this for you, I take the bullet for you. No, I'm not comparing myself to Trump. I decided when I came in, I'll try watching this thing. It wasn't a very long speech, but I still didn't make it all the way through. First off, because a typical Biden, he's been doing this entire career. He keeps telling everybody that he tells the truth, which he did in the speech last night, continued to tell everybody that he's a truthful person telling the truth, and yet all he did was lie. What was really painful to watch is he was slow, tired, mumbling, stumbling. If there had been a second presidential debate between Biden and Trump, Biden would have looked worse than he did during the first debate. So it's a good thing that he's getting out. Yeah, it was just absolutely horrible. But all right. Now, some Wyoming Democrats are angry because Kamala Harris is the presumptive nominee for the Democrat Party. And Wyoming's Representative Harriet Hageman called Kamala Harris a DEI hire, diversity, equity, and inclusion. In other words, hiring someone for virtue signaling, not because they're qualified. Now, Democrats in Wyoming are mad at Harriet Hageman and saying that that's a racist thing to say. And my answer to that is, actually, it's not, and here I'll prove it. When Biden was looking for a vice presidential pick, he said he was going to pick a black woman. Now, Harris is mixed between black and American Indian, is my understanding. I tried looking it up this morning. That's what I got. So she's mixed, okay. And a woman, so she qualifies as a minority and as female. Okay, that means he's not looking for someone based on their qualifications. And if you're wondering, well, is she qualified then? Yeah, she's been a prosecutor and things like that, but she wasn't a good one. In fact, and it's going to come out during the rest of this campaign how bad she really was. In fact, I've got a little bit more on that this half hour. I'm not going to dwell on it, but I'll give you a little bit more about why she's just completely unqualified for this job. But she was hired, if you will, chosen by Biden, not because she was qualified for the job, but because they were trying to virtue signal something, and she fit. Now, when she ran for president, she did horrible. I mean, she was running, there's a whole list of Democrats running for president all at the same time, and she didn't get any votes. She dropped out early. She was horrible. But because she fits the description for virtue signaling, she was the pick. That makes her an unqualified DEI hire. Now, to say that out loud is admitting what is true, and it has nothing to do with racism. Cowboy State Daily said U.S. Representative Harriet Hageman is catching heat, and Harriet doesn't care, from the Wyoming Democrat Party for saying Vice President, Democrat presidential candidate Kamala Harris was hired by President Biden to be a VP, not because of her qualifications, but because of her race and gender fulfill the president's diversity, equity, and inclusion DEI goals. In an interview posted online by Gray DC's Josh, I think it's Rudenberg, I hope I'm pronouncing it right, Hageman also called Harris one of the weakest candidates she's seen in American history, and intellectually, quote, just really kind of the bottom of the barrel. Wow, that's something. Oh, Jude says Jamaican and Indian is what Harris is. Jamaican and Indian? Okay. All right, so in that case, though, she fits the minority female status, right? I like that, though, that she's intellectually the bottom of the barrel. Quote, I think it's just a failure from top to bottom, Hageman said. I think she was a DEI hire, and I think that that's what we're seeing. And I just don't think that they have anyone else. I just think they're in real disarray. So what did Dems say? Well, my own Democrat Party took offense and called that racist. Now, that's the Democrat narrative. But as we all know, I'm just going to call out why they have to say racist, but you already know this. When losing an argument with someone, the best thing to do from the Democrat Party perspective is just call the person something like racist to try to shut them up. If you keep saying that, you're racist. And if they don't shut up, hopefully that'll do damage to them. That's what they do. That's part of their strategy here. Shut them up or hope that if they don't shut up, that accusation is doing damage. Rather than address the real issue here, that she was a diversity hire for virtue signaling. And she's completely unqualified for the job. Now, you're going to love this. Democrat Party unanimously endorsed Harris. Of course they did. Quote, Kamala Harris is a proven leader. No, she's not. Who will carry on the legacy of the current administration. God, I hope not. And deliver incredible results for our nation. Of course she won't. But, of course, they're trying to say everything that the Democrat Party wants them to say. They've got their marching orders. Quote, what women who attack others like this don't realize is whoever they're thinking they're appealing to call them DEI to the movement is, well, they leave room, she wrote. Hageman responded 21 minutes later and told Ocasio-Cortez to tag her next time she mentions Hageman in her post. Oh, I see. Hang on a second here. Let me back up. Democrat Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez also criticized Hageman by saying women who attack others like this don't realize is whoever they think they're appealing to calls them DEI to the movement they leave the moment they leave the room. I don't even understand what that's supposed to mean. But anyway, in other words, next time you use me in a sentence, please hashtag my name, says Hageman, so she can respond to something like that. Quote, if you don't want people to say she's a hire only because she's a black woman, then maybe Biden shouldn't have said that he's only going to hire a black woman. She is objectively bad at her current job and is asking for a promotion using a nomination that was simply handed to her. And I will say this, that she didn't earn it either. Anyway, so that's the argument going back and forth. I don't see, it's obviously not racist. I mean, obviously not. to point out what is the truth of the matter. And as far as I'm concerned, the Democrats can wag their finger all they want and say, it's racist to say that. And the answer is to do what Harriet Hageman's doing. Don't let them get away with it.
Why are you crying?
Because I don't want to be an adult.
You don't want to be an adult? I cry about that a lot, too. Why don't you want to be an adult?
Because it's not fun. It's going to be not fun. It's like a prison being an adult.
It is like a prison being an adult.
Come on, B. I don't want to be an adult. I don't even want to be a teenager. I just want to be a kid.
Me too. Can I be a kid?
No.
Wake Up Wyoming where you do with the Wake Up Wyoming app. Free download for Apple and Android. This is K2 Radio.
6:23 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. All right, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Harris. Just because, I mean, really, do you want me to? I don't think you do. But let's just go through a thing. So when Harriet Hageman, and I did the same day, I think Harriet Hageman did, called Kamala Harris a DEI hire. That's, again, not a racist thing, as the Wyoming Democrat Party is trying to claim. It's factual that she was hired for virtue signaling purpose, not because of qualifications. So let's look at a few things. This woman co-sponsored legislation to protect illegal immigrants from deportation. She backed Bernie Sanders on Medicare for all legislation. Backed banning private health insurance. So in other words, wants Medicare for everybody, government-run health care, universal health care, and then backed banning private health insurance. You making your own decision on what kind of health insurance you want. Woman's a socialist. And doesn't like you making your own decisions. These are decisions you should be allowed to make as a free individual. Government should not be in charge of these decisions. You are. Supported giving taxpayer-funded coverage to illegal immigrants. Supported banning fracking. Now, for those people out in this part of the country, of course, the energy industries, you know how important that is. Backed defunding the police. She wanted to defund the police. She was in favor of it. This does not sound like someone any of us would want in office, but Democrats will adore. Compared ICE, immigration, in other words, ICE, to the KKK. Wanted to ban plastic straws, and we've had that conversation before. No, Americans do not consume or use 500 million straws a day, and most of them don't wind up in the ocean. That was proven just a long time ago, but all right. Defended banning offshore drilling. Wanted to undo the Trump administration's border security, taking 94 executive actions in their first 100 days to rescind nearly every Trump-era measure. So we have the open borders that we do now. And, oh, by the way, I have a story here that when she finally did eventually go to the border, Border Patrol sanitized it. They were under orders to clean the area up, so it didn't look so bad. So what she saw there was not what was happening at the border. The same thing happened when Biden originally went to the border, and I think he only has once that I'm aware of. They did the same thing. They cleaned it up. They sanitized it so we wouldn't have to see the whole thing. Harris supported decriminalization of illegal border crossings to make it legal, in other words. Said she wouldn't treat illegal aliens as criminals. Said that. Called for starting ICE from scratch, immigration services from scratch. I guess maybe just to help people in? Argued that temporarily closing the border violated federal law, which it doesn't. This woman is going to be really easy for Trump to debate. I mean, incredibly easy. Raise money for the Minnesota Freedom Fund, a far-left organization that pays to bail out violent criminals, including accused murderers and rapists, and that has not gone well, as you can imagine. Supported the Los Angeles cuts to their police department. She's in favor of defunding the police. and called efforts to add more police to the streets wrong-headed thinking. Yeah, called adding more police to the streets wrong-headed thinking. This is your vice president. That's the short list, and she wants to be president of the United States. Now, there was an article. I sometimes monitor other news sites or former news organizations. I went to MSNBC, so you don't have to. And there's an article at MSNBC where some Republicans are really scared of Harris. Well, only scared that she could actually become president. But then again, the odds of her actually becoming president are pretty low when you consider what she's up against. And her track record for winning things, she's not going to do really well. Although at this point, Democrats will support anything. If I took a hammer and put it on the control console in front of me and said, Democrats, you have a choice between voting for Trump or voting for the hammer, they would pick the hammer. And if I said anything critical about the hammer, like it's as dumb as a hammer, they would call me racist or something like that. Coming up on some local news that we have to take care of right after local news, an update on the weather forecast, which has some good news in it for all that smoke, and it's going to be really hot today. That's a temporary thing. Then you and I get back into it again. 888-97 was the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Wake up, Wyoming.
Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Join the conversation at 888-97-WOODS.
.36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Okay, so the good news for you Trump supporters out there is he's coming back to Wyoming. And he's going to be doing this in August. I think it was August 10th, I believe it was. I'll double-check that for you here. But if you're thinking, oh, great, I get to see him again, if you have deep pockets, you do. Now, first off, he's going to be meeting people in Jackson, Wyoming. And if you're wondering, why Jackson? And because money. Now, he has gone to do fundraisers in even places like San Francisco. Because, believe it or not, there's a lot of Trump supporters there with really deep pockets. And he raised a lot of money there. They're not all liberals there. And Jackson's not all liberals. There's a lot of really deep-pocketed conservatives that live in Jackson. So that's why he's going there. So let's say you wanted to go to here we go, August 10th. Now, the exact venue has not been picked yet or has not been announced yet. But if you RSVP, then they'll tell you where it's going to be. So some really big, nice venue. Here's what it would cost to get there for fundraising. The base price to get in is $5,000. Yeah. So you can get in with $10,000 fundraising commitment. So if you don't have the $5,000 cash in your pocket, you can commit to raising $10,000. But you better come up with the $10,000. That's what you're signing a commitment to. Oh, they'll let you in, walk in the door without having to pay anything up front, but you're going to get $10,000 worth of donations, or that's coming out of your pocket. So how would you like to play that? They're trying to raise money for the campaign. And so far, Trump's been very good at raising money. Tactics like this work just fine. Would you like a photo with Trump? $35,000. Or again, you could pledge to raise $70,000 for the same photo. But again, you better raise it. So it's probably a better idea just to give $35,000 up front unless you know you can get the $70,000 from other people. Now, how would you like to have lunch with the Trumpster himself? That'll be $150,000 toward the campaign. That better be a damn good hamburger. Yeah, but if you want to have lunch with Trump, there you go. That's how much it's going to cost you, about $150,000. If you're far more serious and you would like to sponsor or host a committee meeting, that will cost you $250,000. Yeah. Now, if some of this seems really unrealistic to you, understand This is the kind of stuff that politicians running for that level of audience of office do all the time, and it works. They show up in places asking this kind of money for all these things. You want a photograph? That'll be $35,000, and everybody understands that's going to go toward the campaign, so they're more than happy to give up the $35,000. And it's not a $35,000 for a picture. It's that you're donating $35,000. By the way, thank you for doing that. Here's your picture. So August 10th is when he's supposed to be in town doing this. And there's some mailer going out to various people. If you didn't get one, it's probably because they know you can't afford it. Don't take that as an insult. There are just some people who can afford this easily and who are also known to give to campaigns with very deep pockets. So, okay, those people probably already got their invitation. Don't feel left out if yours was lost in the mail. They probably got to look at your bank account and realize, if they looked at it at all, and you've never donated that much money to anything anyway. So that's okay. Too bad it's not going to be some open rally like we had here a couple of years ago. And it was fun when he was here to have Trump on the program so I can go ahead and interview him for that, which was a really interesting interview. You know, he was just on the air with me for a few minutes, but it was a really interesting interview 2 years ago. And that's back when he was endorsing Harriet Hageman because he was trying to get rid of Liz Cheney. And there were other people running against Hageman at the time. And after that endorsement, they really didn't stand a chance. There was a whole list of people. Besides Trump showing up to speak, there was a whole list of other politicians and well-known people. The My Pillow guy was even here with Trump. And that was the speech that was held in Casper, Wyoming 2 years ago. So he's coming back this time, though, going to the rich part of Wyoming where the deep pockets are. And once again, if you're thinking, but that's Liberalville, they're not all liberals. I know a good chunk of them are, but there's a lot of conservatives out there with really deep pockets. And if you think about it, a few years back when Gordon was first running for governor, there were two billionaires that were running against Mark Gordon. They both lost because they essentially canceled each other out. But those two billionaires were both conservatives, and they both live either in or near that area. So, yeah, there's plenty of conservatives with deep pockets in the Jackson Hole area.
This one's for the people who have ever felt the pain of stepping on a Lego. I know it hurts. This one's for the people who have ever felt the pain of losing $1 to a broken vending machine. It's sad. This one's for the people who's allergic to dogs. That must be rough. Get it? Rough. It's gonna be okay.
Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Wood.
Listen to Glenn Woods anywhere you roam with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
6:48 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Off to the icebox we go. Frank Gambino's waiting by. Frank, it's going to be kind of on the warm side today.
Yeah, about 100 degrees.
Yeah. So for those people who like to have watermelon in the summertime, careful. I have an article here that explains to people if you don't do it right, they can explode.
Watermelon.
Yes.
Because it's hot.
Yeah, here's how this works. So there was a woman in Florida who thought, no, not a Florida woman. This is okay. She bought a nice big watermelon, which, by the way, that's watermelon country. They grow a lot of watermelons in Florida, a lot. Mm-hmm. So she brings the thing home, and she puts it in her kitchen. First mistake, she doesn't realize that the afternoon sun is going to go right through the window onto the countertop where the watermelon is.
And barbecue the watermelon.
Yes. Second thing she didn't realize is you got to be careful when you pick one to make sure it has not been fermenting inside.
Aha.
So the fermentation is already causing some pressure. Add the heat to it, And now you've got a little ticking watermelon time bomb. And one of those seeds could put your eye out, frankly.
Well, there's a lot of seeds in
there.
that.
Oh, my Lord, yeah. That's just going to be
you're
like
under
a
attack in your own kitchen by a watermelon?
fragmentation grenade or something like that. So she leaves the house for a while. She comes back. She walks into her kitchen, and there's like watermelon all over her kitchen.
I think somebody outside just threw it on the floor.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, no. I actually looked this up. I was curious about it. And, yeah, this is a scientific fact. Now, that doesn't mean that they explode and, like, ba-boom all over the place. It's more like a pop. And, yeah, some stuff can go splatter across the room. That's about it. But that is technically some kind of an explosion there. And I still think a seed could put your eye out, so try to get the seedless watermelon.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I didn't know watermelon eating could be so dangerous.
It could be dangerous.
Yeah.
It could be. I used to watch now in a certain part of Florida where they grow watermelons. They will take a old school bus and they'll cut the roof off just behind the driver and make a huge pickup truck out of it.
Okay.
And load it up with watermelon. And what I used to do is wait until they were hauling watermelons around and watch on the corners in the ditches. They would make a turn and one would roll off.
Oh, that is a free watermelon for you?
I get a free watermelon in the ditch, yeah.
All righty. The Cheyenne Frontier Days rodeo cruised along yesterday. Yesterday was Cheyenne Day, so it was a big party day, and you had the Air Force Thunderbirds there. That's always cool. And in the rodeo from yesterday afternoon in the bareback, R.C. Landingham from Hack Creek, California, with an 84 in the bareback, so we picked up over $2,200. In the saddle bronc, Alan Bohr with an 84. He's from Axtell, Utah. He won over $2,300 for that effort. And in the bull riding, Tristan Hutchings from Mount View, Idaho, with an 87, and he won $2,354. The Daddy of them all continues today at 1 p.m. at Frontier Park, and will go all the way through the championship short go, which will be on Sunday. American Legion Baseball, the Double-A tournament will be in Casper starting on Monday. Here, the first round games at Sheridan and Laramie at 10 a.m. The Cheyenne Sixers will take on Rock Springs at 1 p.m. Gillette will take on the Cheyenne Hawks at 4 p.m. and then Casper Beach Jackson at 7 p.m. So the Double-A tournament starts on Monday in Casper over at Lansing Field. In Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies bombarded the Boston Red Sox 20-4. 20-4. The Rockies scored in every inning but two. They had 5 runs in the 4th inning, 6 runs in the 6th inning. They had 21 hits. Brendan Doyle hit a grand slam. Now, the Red Sox used this as a bullpen game. They didn't use their starting pitchers, so they have bullpen pitchers worked, in 2 or 3 innings, and another guy would work 2 or 3 innings. Plus, they had an infielder throw. It was just a throwaway game for the Red Sox, but they also committed 4 errors in the game. The Rockies playing a little bit better. They're not great. They're actually still bad, but they'll be at San Francisco tomorrow. In collegiate baseball, the Casper Spuds have lost 2 in a row. They were defeated by the Spearfish Sasquatch on the road yesterday, 13-9. The Spuds are 38-8 on the year, and they'll be in South Dakota again tonight. And our Wild Preps athletes of the week have been announced. For the girls, Hadley Thompson in rodeo from Yoder. She was second in the all-around of the National High School Finals rodeo in Rock Springs, took second in the breakaway and second in the go time. And our boys athlete of the week is Cade Queen from Powell, who had 545, 5 home runs and 14 RBIs in the West District Tournament. So Powell is going to be the favorite for the 8th Legion tournament that will be starting next week, which they will host. So that's it in sports.
Sounds like the Rockies accidentally found a winning strategy.
Yeah, they hit the ball really well, and they pitched, and then just 20 runs. They think that tied their franchise record. That's
sure.
If I'm Boston, I'm like, boy, I need to get out of town.
Which means that the Rockies are going to immediately have a meeting and say, we better not do that again.
No, we want to save some of those runs for a different game.
Yeah, right. That's just embarrassing to win by that much.
Yeah.
They're going to change their strategy. They got to go back to the losers again.
Well,
they have a reputation to protect.
Of course.
Right? Okay. Let's wake up Wyoming. Time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It's a Thursday, and despite the smoke, I swear I can see the weekend from here.
Today's show is sponsored by home defense paperweights. They look like rocks, but, well, they're actually rocks.
Just don't throw the pet rock. You wouldn't want to do that to the poor guy. All right, now, I do have Don Day at 7:45 to talk about the smoke situation, which does start to clear out. Not entirely, but mostly as we get into Friday, Saturday, Sunday, with a increased chance of rain that could actually even help scrub the sky clean of a lot of that smoke. I did notice a while back I have a black vehicle. It was all clean. I had run it through the car wash. It was all clean. And then it rained. And the rain's coming down through the smoke, which means the rain is picking up the smoke on the way down, which makes it dirty rain. And that hits my nice clean car, so you know what that looks like, right? All right. That, although most of the smoke is supposed to clear out over the weekend, and especially that welcome rain ought to really clean things up for a few days. All right, before I get into the next story, you had to hear this. I came across this video of an 8th grade teacher who was taking some notes about some of the things her students had said. And she wanted to repeat them.
Things that my 8th graders have said to me. Are you in therapy? You seem like the type. You look like my grandpa's couch. A student got the answer right and yelled, "Yeah, I felt that one in my nuggets. Your pants look like trash bags sewn together. Ha ha, trash bag pants. I don't get why you write so much on my rough draft. I'm not reading all that, bruh, for real, for real. Miss Dugan, the toilet paper in this school sucks. I just got dookie on my hand. Fat ass alert." That one ended up being about me. I was eating some crackers. And finally, how does it feel to be the only unmarried teacher in this school?
Wow. The things 8th graders say these days. Don't know if we could have gotten away with that in a much younger generation. Anyway. Oh, morning, Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes is in Douglas. She says, how can we get Trump to stop calling names and just run on what he will do for us? I think he would easily win if he did no more of the name calling. I'm with you on that. That's one of the things that I've often criticized Trump for. I like that he's a fighter. I want him to be a fighter. But, yeah, a lot of the name calling and so on, to me, is just juvenile, not worth it, annoying. And I do think he would do a lot better if he appeared to be more presidential and stopped all of the name calling. So, Blue Eyes, you and I completely agree on that. All right, next story up. This is just beauty. Fake protesting encampment was set up, and it spurred real protesters. Yeah, well, they weren't fooled by this. This is Queens College in New York, and often is the case at different colleges, universities around the country. Some television and movie makers will show up because they want the college campus background. And they'll pay the university or college some money, so some money's made off it. So they can go ahead and set up a scene with a college background. And in this case, they were going to have a scene where there was a sit-in protest. You know, they put up all the tents and stuff like that. And this was supposed to be a protest that had to do with climate change or something like that for the made-for-television series. This got some students really mad. And so they showed up to protest the fake protest. Here's how the story goes. A film set created to look like a protesters' encampment, New York Queens College, prompted actual protesters to show up on Tuesday. The mock encampment had been set up for CBS FBI Most Wanted and was being used as part of an episode for the show's 6th season, which featured a climate protest. The scene reportedly resembled a pro-Palestinian protest scene found on college campi across the United States this spring. The display angered the group of 15 protesters. So 15 people showed up, which means I would say, I don't care what you think. Who said it trivialized the pro-Palestinian movement. The activists stood feet away from the set and accused the actors and producers of propaganda. Meanwhile, the representatives from the college defended the episode at Queens College, pointing out that the campus is often a place where shoots will be held to for reputable productions for companies, media outlets, because, again, they have a really nice-looking college background that they like to use as a set, and the college can make a few bucks off of this thing. However, protesters do not agree with the school's assessment, and my answer would be, well, we don't care if you agree or not. They're paying us rent for this, so they can go ahead and do it. It's called fiction, people. Man, it looks too much like one of our pro-Palestinian things, and we object to it. Well, get over it. You're not going to get everything that you like. This is something, I think, an important lesson for these college kids to learn. And sometimes in life there will be things that will upset you. And sometimes you are upset for reasons that are not legitimate. That's one thing people cannot stand. Well, you're saying my feelings are not valid. Sometimes your feelings are not valid. And what you're angry about is illegitimate, and you're going to be told to go away. And you're wrong. People hate hearing that. Morning, Red. Red is in Casper. Let's see, they are 8th graders. At that age, specifically, I think you need to have an iron disposition and not have a sense of smell. Okay. Hey, would you mind if I played that again? I got to play that again. Okay. This is an 8th grade teacher, and she just decided to repeat some of what her 8th graders said. Now, when I was in school, I know 8th graders, especially when you're of that young age, kids don't know. They don't have much of a filter, and so they just say all sorts of things. But I seem to remember being in school, we had more of a filter because we better. Had more respect for our teacher because we better. Still, though, I thought what they said was hysterical. So here's the teacher.
Things that my 8th graders have said to me. Are you in therapy? You seem like the type. You look like my grandpa's couch. A student got the answer right and yelled, "Yeah, I felt that one in my nuggets. Your pants look like trash bags sewn together. Ha ha, trash bag pants. I don't get why you write so much on my rough draft. I'm not reading all that, bruh, for real, for real. Miss Dugan, the toilet paper in this school sucks. I just got dookie on my hand. Fat ass alert." That one ended up being about me. I was eating some crackers. And finally, how does it feel to be the only unmarried teacher in this school?
Oh, that last one is just painful. But okay. I think, though, to defend the students a little bit, although I do think the students need to be a lot more respectful, but still, though, she is teaching 8th graders, and she should have known before she even got into the job that this is what 8th graders can be like. And so, yeah, Red, I think you're right. You need to really have an iron disposition when it comes to this, because that's what they're going to be like. Although I still think we ought to teach kids a bit more respect.
Ain't no way you'll ever find me behind the wheel of an electric car. I want that 10 miles per gallon, oil leaking, no muffler having, screaming V8 driving down the highway.
You asked for an expert. We didn't have the budget for that. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods, weekdays 6 to 10 a.m. and 24/7 on the Wake Up Wyoming app.
7:20 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. I want to go real quick to Washington, D.C. for this one because, as you know, Benjamin Netanyahu showed up to speak yesterday, and, of course, the protesters came out, right? So let's take a look at some of what was happening with those protesters. First, I'm looking at a video here. Pro-Palestinian protesters getting bussed into Washington, D.C. So, this is organized. Before the protest even happens, I'm looking at video of a bunch of people, a lot of them wearing masks because, well, not only do they not want to be identified, but it's virtue signaling. So, yeah, these buses show up and these people get off wearing masks and carrying a lot of pre-made signs and things like that. And then absolute chaos. Police had to use pepper spray and stun grenades and things like this with a whole number of people. And a few that were arrested for this, the protesters tried to storm the police and get the people who had been arrested back, which I don't think really matters all that much because anyone who's arrested is usually out within a few hours anyway, and nothing ever really happens to them. So I don't see the point in arresting people if there's not going to be actual consequences for this kind of behavior. But I am glad that someone's around to shoot video of these people showing up by the busloads, all carrying the same signs and so on. But then there's this one. Anti-Israel protesters release maggots, mealworms in Benjamin Netanyahu's hotel. The Washington, D.C., Maryland, and Virginia chapters of the pro-Palestinian organization called Palestinian Youth Movement posted a video on Instagram showing maggots and mealworms on a banquet table at the Watergate Hotel. The group also claimed to have released crickets. See, these people are just wonderful, aren't they? We are transitional, independent, grassroots movement, they said, dedicated to the liberation of our homeland and our people. I bet most of those people have never even been there. But this is what they say anyway. So, bon appetit, the group said. Maggots released on the criminal Zionist war table. Quote, Palestinian protesters manufactured chaos at the Watergate Hotel last night so that Netanyahu's Israel Mossad agents and Secret Service had no peace as they continued to terrorize people, the group added. Mealworms and maggots, we're talking about Netanyahu. And they were left on their banquet tables. And crickets were released on multiple floors of the hotel. So they went into the hotel in advance and just started releasing all of this. Oh, these people are just wonderful. Now, you might look at this and get upset, and I get it. I really do. But there's another part of me that looks at this and thinks, please, let's let them do this. However, other than me telling you about this, would you please let me know, have you heard this story anywhere else? Because I think it should be reported all over the place. I think it should be, if journalists actually were journalists and did their job, then every so-called news organization out there, and I don't care who they are. I often pick on MSNBC and CNN, but also New York Times and name them. They would all be showing, gosh, isn't it interesting that these people showed up by the busloads with pre-made signs? Gosh, isn't it interesting that these people show up at the Watergate Hotel and throw in maggots and crickets and all sorts of things all over the place? This is the kind of human beings that we're dealing with here. Because if they had just showed up and peacefully protested, marched down the street with their signs, made their statements and so on, fine. But this is what needs to be shown, because it would definitely change people's opinions. In fact, they would have fewer people, these protesters would have fewer people on their sides if most people can see what they were actually like. The group, the story says, added that fire alarms had been set off on several floors of the hotel over 30 minutes in order to ensure that there would not be any rest before Netanyahu spoke to Congress. So he's trying to get rest, and fire alarms keep going off. Quote, may their dreams be haunted by the death of our people and decay of our society. And this came ahead of the Netanyahu speech, which was at 2 p.m. Netanyahu was invited by Speaker of the House Mike Johnson and talks about the different Democrats and Republicans both. Bernie Sanders and Representative Ocasio-Cortez have both stated they would be boycotting the speech. And there was that one, she held up a sign basically saying Netanyahu was a war criminal while he was speaking. On Tuesday, anti-Israel protesters gathered in a rotunda of the Cannon House building. These were the ones I was telling you guys about yesterday on that ridiculously large television that they put in the studio with me. I looked over and I saw those folks. They all showed up, once again, wearing pre-made T-shirts with pre-made slogans on them. There's a bunch of them. So, all of this is being done way in advance with money. They were bussed in, and they all went in and sat in a rotunda in a big circle, and they did their protesting. Now, if they were told at that point, okay, you did your thing, now go, and they would get up and go, okay. But they don't. Now they have to be arrested, right? But this is what I had said yesterday about it. So they were arrested. So what? What that means is that an officer goes over and puts them in those little zip tie things. picks them up and walks them off. And they go on to another bus to the police station. They go through the booking process. And within an hour or two, they're back out again. And there's absolutely no consequences for this. Everything's taken care of for them. So every time I hear that protesters were arrested, I think, so what? Big deal. They're not actually having to pay for anything. There's no consequences here. Here is the story. Talib is holding up a sign. It's a little round sign, looks like a paddle thing. War criminal. Rashid Talib, Democrat, mounted a silent protest during Israel Prime Minister's speech to Congress on Wednesday, holding up a sign that said guilty of genocide, war criminal, during his address. I do know that Netanyahu had some choice words, and I thought he made some great points. And when he fired back against people like this, and hopefully embarrassed them with a bit of reality, but I don't think any of these people are dealing with any kind of reality in this situation. But also goes back to my point that if you want to say something, you're in a free country. You have every right to say what you want to say. But if you don't do it in the right way, what you end up doing is driving off supporters. So as these people behave badly, I would love for the news media to show when they behave badly. Show it to the American people. Because if you show to the American people that they're behaving badly, then it changes the American people's opinion of the protesters. Where they might have been for someone before, they're now against them because they behave badly. All right. Coming up on some local news that we got to take care of, we're going to roll into the weather forecast. Now, at 7:45, Don Day joins us. Today is the hottest day we've seen in a while, but it just lasts today. As we get into tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, through the weekend here, temperatures cool off quite a bit compared to today, and wind direction changes and the wind picks up, a better chance of showers. A lot of things change. So it's not going to be perfectly smoke-free skies, but it really is going to be a lot better and a lot cooler out there. And for quite a few of you, a whole lot wetter. So stay tuned to 7:45 for that conversation with Don Day. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Where Wyoming comes to talk. This is Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Be part of the show at 888-97-WOODS.
7:36 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Like I said, a hot one today, still more smoke, but this might be the end of it for a while. Don Day will explain he's on at 7:45. Complete change of topic for you. So, have you seen the Tesla pickup truck that's been driving around Wyoming? I did. I think it was last month that I was at, I'd taken a road trip to a couple of different places, but one of them, and I didn't expect it, I was at Independence Rock, and it pulled into the parking area in Independence Rock. Now, for those who might be trying to picture what this looked like, the Tesla Cybertruck looks really space age. Yeah, it's made out of a type of stainless steel looking aluminum thing or whatever. And it's got a lot of really sharp angles on it. It looks like nothing you would expect. Doesn't even have door handles on it because it doesn't open that way. And my thought was when I looked at it, in person, because I've seen pictures of this before, was just, I'm sorry for anyone out there who might own one, but I thought, yuck. Yuck, I don't like it. Now, if you do, hey, look, you buy what you like. Don't worry about what anyone else thinks. And I often do the same thing. I'll go ahead and buy a shirt or a hat or something that I like for me, and I don't ask other people's opinion because I like it for me. So for the guy who owns the Cybertruck out there, if this is what you want, you do it. And don't listen to anybody else. So an article was put up on the Wake Up Wyoming site, a great explanation of what Wyomingites think about the Cybertruck. Story says, if you've seen a Cybertruck roaming around Wyoming, I'll bet you take a second look. The futuristic look is interesting, but not many Wyomingites would purchase to drive one. You may think they look like something out of Star Wars. Well, when we saw a Cybertruck for the first time, no one's holding back their feelings. Things like, that thing behind us is out of Star Wars. Oh, bless their hearts. You know what that means in Southern speak? Oh, bless your heart. That's not a good thing. I hope they don't run out of electricity because no one is going to help them in that thing. And, oh gosh, that is just gross. That isn't anywhere near cool at all, somebody said. I will not get in the car with you if you're driving one of those. No way, Jose. So I think it's safe to say, says the author here, Carol B., who was speaking at the time, is what most folks in Wyoming are saying about this futuristic, if that's supposed to be futuristic, which I don't think it is. If you haven't seen that rant, it's got about 10 million views on social media right now. In fact, let me see if I can play it for you. I hope there's no bad words in this thing here. But here's this little old lady driving down. She's a passenger.
Behind us, it's out of Star Wars. What is that? What kind of car is that?
That is a Tesla SUV. It's electric.
Well, bless their little hearts.
Yeah, bless their little hearts.
They'll never run out of electricity because no one's going to help them in that thing. I'm telling you that. It's like outer space, you know?
Here, look, it's coming to your side. Look.
Drives right by her on the passenger side. Yeah. This is some little old lady looking at this.
Oh, my God. This is ridiculous. Oh, the word, it does look like it's out of Star Wars, like one of the spaceships. My gosh, who would drive that? Oh, my God. That is so gross. That isn't anywhere near cool at all. Oh, that's awful, Todd. Oh, my God.
Should I get one of those?
I won't ride with you.
Okay, so see, that's a little old lady doing that. Oh, Tim in Casper says, resembles a stealth bomber. Ray in Green River, I came back from a trip to California and saw a Cybertruck painted orange with a white stripe. It was hideous. Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I understand what they were trying to go for, and maybe there's a certain market for that because a few people have purchased them, but I looked at it and I just went, yuck. Even if it was not all electric, I'd still just be going, yuck, I don't like that thing. I just think it's a disgusting-looking, stupid-looking vehicle. And just impractical in so many ways in its design. But hey, look, having said all that, if you're someone who looks at it and thinks, no, that's the coolest thing ever, then don't you listen to any of us. You go ahead and get one. Drive it all you want. Just enjoy it. But just so you know, I'm with the little old lady on this one. And if we have to go anywhere together, don't even ask me to ride with you. I'll ride in my own vehicle behind you at a far distance so nobody even thinks that we're together. But you have a good time with that. Don Day's up next.
Wake up, Wyoming, with Glenn Woods on K2 Radio. Got something to say? Chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app or call 888-97-WOODS.
7:45. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Off we go to talk to Don Day and day weather. So, Don, apparently just one more miserable day, and then things just straighten up a little bit anyway, so it's nice enough to tolerate.
Yeah, it's going to be a little bit easier tomorrow and Saturday in particular, with it being a little cooler, a little less hazy and smoky, and the chances of showers and thunderstorms helping to cool it off in the afternoon and evening hours certainly will be, it'll be certainly different tomorrow and Saturday compared to what we've been like this week.
Okay. Now, that includes, and not just the heat today, because in some areas I know it's like 100, 101, depends on which, forecast I'm looking at here. But now, that wind direction, it looks like it changes, and it brings in some moisture, right?
Yeah, we're seeing that moisture already in western Wyoming. So today we're going to have showers and thunderstorms over Yellowstone, Grand Teton National Park, the far western counties of the state will have thunderstorms. The eastern side of the state will still be basically under the same situation. But the winds aloft, if you look at satellite imagery very carefully, what you see is that the winds aloft in eastern Wyoming are from the north. Western Wyoming, the winds aloft are from the west-southwest. And so you can split the state in half. So what we'll see tomorrow, though, is that west-southwest wind aloft come into the rest of the state. That will help clear out the smoke a bit. It won't eliminate it, but it will thin it out. And that's also what's going to bring in the moisture.
Okay. So now that means, though, you'll actually be able to look at the mountain range behind your house and see it, which a couple of times, Don, I have not been able to do, and I live pretty close to the mountain. But then, again, there's still going to be some haze out there. What's also nice is if you do get some of that rain, I've watched that scrub the sky clear temporarily. So that's a good thing. We certainly need the wet.
Yes, these will be rain-producing thunderstorms. We'll also have strong wind gusts with them, but the moisture is pretty deep. So if you're underneath the thunderstorm, there's a good chance you could put something in the rain gauge. And to your point, that does clear out the skies a little bit. But what we really have to have a change to get rid of the smoke is a change in the wind structure, the wind patterns aloft. And we will see that tomorrow and into the weekend.
Okay. So how long do we get to enjoy this niceness?
Well, we are going to probably through Sunday, early to mid next week. We go back to another hot period. Don't know yet how much haze we'll have around, but a warmer, drier trend for the first half of next week. And then late next week, thunderstorms again. So basically, Glenn, it's the same pattern for next week. Hot, hazy, and dry to start the week, into the week and the weekend, thunderstorms.
See, this is where I got to give you credit, Don, because the weekends are nice.
Well, we'll see how long we can keep that.
We're counting on you, man.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Don. Don Day with Day Weather. Well, look, anything I can do to encourage the guy, I will. Off we go to the ice box where Frank Gambino is waiting by. Okay, Frank, I had never heard of such a thing. Every so often we get someone out there on the baseball field who's like a streaker or something like that, right?
Yeah, or the lady with the, what was her name? Morgana.
Yeah.
She was very, she had big personality.
Oh, big personality.
Big personality. Came out on the field, wanted to kiss players. And,
yeah. Okay.
She had very, very big personality.
Big personality.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah.
Well, the Cleveland Browns security team is running on-the-field drills. They're sending.
This is for the football team.
Yeah. They're sending somebody out there that is supposed to be just some nut job trying to do something. And their security team is practicing running the guy down and getting him off the field.
Well, yeah, I think they should be practicing that because there's more gumballs than there's ever been.
Yes.
So you gotta be those security people. They gotta be in shape. They can't be looking like they're 55 pounds overweight and just kind of moving along when these guys are running all over the field. And you look back at some of these things. Some of these guys are really good athletes, and they have just nailed these guys.
Oh, yeah. Now, it's a lot like, let's say I were to take a rabbit and put it in your backyard and say to you, okay, Frank, you and a couple of your friends get out there and chase that rabbit down.
Yeah, it's not a straight line, yeah.
Yeah, that rabbit's all over the place. And so that's what the runner will do is just dart all over the place. It's hard to predict. But if they have a strategy.
Well, you got to kind of surround them.
Yeah. Close in on him.
Yeah. I mean, so he can dart around as much as he can. Then you find out of all your security people, who is the best athlete? Who's the fastest and the most agile? You start.
Translation, well, first off, who's a better runner, but who's a better bum tackler? Because if the runners can chase him toward the bum tackler and he tackles the bum.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think we probably have something done. But there's video of this.
Oh no, and there's just in a baseball game, they tased the guy.
Really? Okay.
And the picture of him going,
Now, all of a sudden, you make me want to watch baseball games.
Well, but hopefully nobody goes on the field and does anything.
How many games would I have to watch until I get to see someone tased?
Probably a lot. That was the first time I've seen it.
So it's better for me just to wait until it appears on YouTube than...
Yeah, watch it later, yeah.
Because I'd be watching the entire baseball game, not caring about the game, hoping that someone gets out there to get tased. And then when I get frustrated that nobody's getting out there getting tased, I'll decide, well, if somebody's got to do it. And so I'll hop the barrier myself, and then it'll be me.
Ooh, well...
Yeah.
That'd be cool. I want to get that on video.
That's something you want to see.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. All right, the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo moving along today in Cheyenne again. Yesterday was Cheyenne Day, a lot of fun for all the locals, and the Air Force Thunderbirds were there, and a pretty good rodeo performance as well. In the bareback, R.C. Landingham from Hack Creek, California, with an 84 to lead the session, so he won over $2,200 for that. In the saddle bronc, Alan Bohr from Axtell, Utah, with an 84. That was the best time, the score of the session. And in bull riding, Tristan Hutchings from Mount View, Idaho, posted an 87. That's really good in bull riding, and that was worth over $2,300. The 128th annual Daddy of them All continues at 1 p.m. today at Frontier Park in Cheyenne. American Legion Baseball, the state AA tournament will be in Casper beginning on Monday. And those first round games on Monday at Lansing Field, Sheridan versus Laramie at 10. The Cheyenne Sixers, the defending state champions, will take on Rock Springs at 1 p.m. Gillette will take on the Cheyenne Hawks at 4 p.m. And Jackson will take on Casper at 7 p.m. That is all starting on Monday at Lansing Field, and that AA tournament will continue through Friday. In Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies drilled the Boston Red Sox yesterday 20-4. 20-4. Brendan Doyle had a grand slam for the Rockies, and Colorado had 5 runs in the 4th inning and six more in the 6th inning. They had 21 hits. The Red Sox used their pitchers were actually just all bullpen guys with an infielder, so they didn't really take this game evidently real seriously, but they did make 4 errors. And the Rockies scored in every inning but 2. They'll be at San Francisco tomorrow. Collegiate baseball, the Casper Spuds have lost 2 in a row. They were defeated by the Spearfish Sasquatch in South Dakota 13-9, so they're 38-8 on the year. Those 2 teams will play again tonight in South Dakota. And our Wild Preps Athletes of the Week have been announced. For the girls, Hadley Thompson from Yoder had a terrific National Finals rodeo in Rock Springs last week. She was 2nd in the all-around, 2nd in the breakaway roping, and 2nd in the go time. And our boys athlete of the week is Cade Queen from Powell, who hit .545 with 5 home runs and 14 RBIs just in the West District tournament last week. And Powell will host the state's A tournament coming up next week. And that's it in sports.
In the meantime, though, I made it all the way downstairs, and I got myself a cup of coffee and came all the way back up again. And at no time was I huffing and puffing.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, see, now
so that means you're the Stairmaster that we built just for you.
Yeah, just for me, yeah. That's
working. You know.
Why the coffee pot is all the way downstairs. I could make coffee upstairs.
No. Then I would have to go upstairs.
Then you would have to come all the way upstairs.
No, I'm already going upstairs to begin with.
Nobody wants that, yeah.
No,
all right.
No.
So you see what I do for you, Frank?
Thank you.
Okay, yeah. Coming up on some local business that we have to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that. National, local update on the weather forecast. Oh, we do have a guest in the first part of next hour. Dave North, who's running for county commissioner in Natrona County. Now, this is where I've said anybody who's running for any office anywhere around Wyoming can come on the program. But feel free to do so. Call Miss Mary. 888-97-WOODS. That's 888-97-WOODS. We'll give you a little bit of slot of time to talk about your campaign. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Fifth.
Six of time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. My name is Glenn Woods. Thanks for joining me. It is a Thursday. Despite the smoke, I can almost see the weekend from here.
Today's show is sponsored by Home Defense Paperweights. They look like rocks, but, well, they're actually rocks.
Just don't throw the pet rock. Dave North is with me here. He's running for county commissioner, Natrona County, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Have you been county commissioner? For those who don't know, have you been county commissioner before?
Yes, for 3.5 years.
3.5 years.
My first term, and I will only serve 2. I'm not going to run again. If I'm elected, 2 terms is enough.
Okay. And what did you hope to accomplish in the 2 terms you're going to run?
The biggest thing I want to accomplish is reduce the size of government. I don't believe that government is the answer. I believe it's a problem, and I think it needs to. There are certain things that the government obviously has to provide, law enforcement, fire protection, a multitude of things. But the biggest thing is that if we can reduce some of the regulations so we can encourage businesses to grow and prosper in our community, I think that's one of the biggest things we need to do.
It's very difficult to find people, as even at your level of government, who actually want to do that, although they say it. But when they get into a position like yours to actually do it, how's that been working for you?
Not as quickly as I would like.
Okay.
Because there's 5 commissioners, and I get outvoted.
Okay.
A lot of times on some things, but, we have a new election, and we'll see who gets elected for this one. And if I'm one of the ones that gets elected and we have somebody else that's elected that has common goals, then I believe that we can move forward and get some things accomplished.
There'd actually need to be 3 of you then in order to finally start achieving some of these goals.
That is correct.
Yeah, okay. So as you're running this, after doing it the first time, I know you said you only want to do 2 terms there, but did it get frustrating at some point where you're thinking, what's the point?
The first 2 years, the commission was totally different than it is right now.
Yeah.
We had basically 3 new guys come in 2 years ago, and a lot of the history that was there was lost. And so there's things that you have to constantly work through and move forward. We've also lost a lot of employees over the years because they can go into the private sector and get paid a whole lot better than they can with the county. And so you lose history there. So sometimes things don't move quite as quickly as you would like, but you got to keep moving forward. You got to keep doing what you can with what you have, and that's what I really believe in.
Okay. So what are the things you would hope to achieve a second time around in Natrona County?
Hopefully we can get the zoning resolution that was passed 2 years ago. We can go through that and clean it up, take a lot of the unnecessary stuff out of it. I want to continue to work with our legislators, which is one of the things I've done on property tax reform. And that's something that, as a county commissioner, you have a little bit different pull than you do as a regular citizen because you're representing all your constituents, which are the entire county. So that's something that I have been working with our legislators to try to get some things pushed through. Unfortunately, 3 of the bills that got passed through our legislators last year were vetoed by Governor Gordon. So those are things that I really want to work on continually. We have a lot of little things that we need to work on and make it a better place for our citizens in the county.
Well, property taxes does fall more on the county than even on the state level, doesn't it?
No, it doesn't. Okay. The legislators are the ones that have to set the rules.
Right,
They're the ones that set the statute.
But it's the county that gets the property tax.
Yes, it is, and that is correct.
Yeah.
And so, sitting in on as many Board of Equalization hearings as I have over the last 3.5 years, I've learned quite a bit more about the property tax assessment than I really ever wanted to know. But that's helped because I can look at things and say, okay, what can we do to really help our citizens? And all of our legislators know me, and I talk to them on a regular basis, and so that's something that helps when you're working with them and say, these are areas that I really would like to change. I'd like to really change part of the rules as far as what the county commissioners have the authority to do. Right now, when somebody brings a property tax issue before us, we only have 2 choices. We can either affirm what the assessor says the value is, or we can remand it back to the assessor. We can't change any values. We can't do anything. We can't even put our own input in, even if we're really familiar with an area and say, oh, this is a problem, this should be looked at. Unless the assessor or the taxpayer brings that before us, we can't enter any of that stuff into evidence. And so it's really frustrating because there's a lot of places the taxpayers generally really don't know how to do an appeal. And that's nothing against them. It's a complicated process, and what you have to look at is really complicated. So I really want to be an asset for the citizens of the county and make it easier for them, help them out wherever I can.
Yeah. One of the things I was hoping the legislators would do is make it so it wasn't a complicated process, which I don't think it really needs to be.
I agree 100%. I agree 100%.
Dave North is with me. He's running for county commissioner in Natrona County. We've had a lot of discussion. I even hosted an event dealing with a gravel pit up on Casper Mountain. Have you been involved in that?
I have. I can't really say a whole lot because that's going to come before the commission, unfortunately. I mean, as far as me being able to say anything about it. There are requirements. He is required to get a conditional use permit. There are 7 requirements that all of them have to be met to get a conditional use permit. And those are all listed on our planning and zoning website. And you can't just get most of them. You have to get all 7 of them for the commission to actually approve a conditional use permit. And so those are the areas that people need to look at. And if they're concerned about it, those are the areas that they really need to present that evidence when it does come before the commissioners.
Okay. Has he satisfied most of those permits or conditions?
No. Right now, nothing has come before the county.
Okay.
Absolutely nothing. So I can't say what his plans are or what they're, or anything else at this point in time. But he has to present all that evidence, and the commissioners can put restrictions according to what those 7 conditions are. They can delve into it a little deeper, and they can actually look at it and say, okay, you have to do this, this, and this to meet this portion of the requirement. So, but like I said, if you don't meet all 7 of them, you can't get it.
Judy, who's over there in Mills, asked Dave, what about the 1 mil levy increase for a senior center on, let's see, who voted for it? Who on Bach voted for it?
That was the 1 mil went before, that was presented to the county commissioners, requesting that there be an additional 1 mil on your property taxes. The problem with that is that if you own a $200,000 house, that's going to be approximately $20 a year. But if you own a $500,000 house, that's going to be $50 a year over and above what you're paying on your current property taxes. So those are, that was brought before us. I did make the comment that I think that they have a very steep hill to climb, because people are tired of paying additional property taxes.
Okay. So still a lot to discuss here then.
There's still a lot to discuss.
Yeah.
A lot to discuss. That is on the primary. So if you don't want your property taxes, you have the choice of, if you don't want them going up, you have the choice of voting against it. If you do want your property taxes to go up and support that, then you can vote the other direction. So it's up to you.
So if you win the next go-round as county commissioner, after that, you would have gained some pretty good experience here. Would you take a look at any other office after that, or are you done?
Right now, I'm going to say I'm done.
Yeah.
I believe that it's just, when you go into office, you need to provide what you can. But at some point in time, I'm not a career politician. I didn't run for office until I was semi-retired.
Right.
Because I wanted to make sure that I had enough time to devote to the office and do what needed to be done. And I'm going to be old enough that it's time for me to back off and enjoy things a little bit more and take advantage of the so-called golden years, I guess.
Go after that elk tag you finally landed.
No, moose tag.
Moose tag. Sorry, moose tag that you finally. Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you.
How many years did you say it took you?
28.
28 years.
So I wasn't lucky. I earned it.
You earned it. 28 years of waiting for that thing there. Okay. So, so with no other office, you just want to accomplish a few more things and get them done. Did you lay out some goals, some things on your list? You want to get these things done?
I do have some goals. The biggest thing, like I said, is to reduce the regulations and try to make this a business-friendly community that we can get people to come in. And I've actually been working with some different groups to try to bring in different businesses to Casper. Taking advantage of our trade-free zone, I think that's a big thing. A lot of people don't even understand that. A lot of people in the state don't understand that. And so that is something that there's so many companies that are working internationally that they're bringing things in, they're shipping stuff out, and they don't realize just how big of an advantage that is to not have to pay for those taxes on that product until the end. And if they're doing it all here, it helps out a lot.
Okay. Well, you do live in an area where people can get a hold of you and talk to you anytime they need to. So how do they find out more about your campaign and talk to you?
Well, if you have a question, I do not have a website, but I do have a Facebook page. It's called Campaign Dave North. You can PM me there. You can also get hold of me through the commission and send a message there. They can give you my phone number, and there's plenty of people around town. And if you PM me, I'll give you my phone number also. I don't want to do that online.
Right. Yeah.
But I answer my phone calls. I get phone calls all the time, and I answer my emails. So even if you send an email to the county commissioners, to my county commissioner email, I will respond to you. So,
all right, Dave North, thanks for coming in. Good luck on the hunt.
Thanks, Glenn.
All right, it's Wake Up Wyoming.
The only show broadcasting from a bunker under Devil's Tower. Hey, it's cold down here. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods, 6 a.m. weekdays on AM 1030 and FM 95.1.
Let's get to the most dangerous portion of this program that we do every day at about this time, open phones.
Warning. Wake Up Wyoming is about to enter daily open phones. This means that anyone will be allowed to call in and talk about anything. I mean, imagine if we actually allowed you on air to say anything you wanted. Scary, right? Well, we're just that brand of crazy. If you are offended by what other people think, then maybe you want to tune out right about now. Just saying. If you should choose to call, just remember, the more funny and interesting you are, the longer Glenn will keep you on the line. Obnoxious jerks will be hung up on. Dave, all right, strap in, and let's do this thing.
888-97 Woods, the phone number. That's 888-97-WOODS. Talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject, fine by me. I'll just kind of roll with it. So George Orwell, a constant meme I see on the internet, is a picture of George Orwell, and he has his book 1984, and Orwell is informing people this was not supposed to be a guide, it was supposed to be a warning. All right, well, in cancel culture, now even some people would like to cancel George Orwell, which further proves everything that he ever said. The author of this article, it's a rather lengthy article, Paul Sutton is his name, was talking to some students. And these are students of literature. And these students maintain, because they've been listening to their idiot college professors, they maintain that it's important in quality writing, to read it and understand it. But paradoxically, this can only be judged by the strictest contemporary standards. Any right-wing outdated views need to be out. Now, my thought is, read it all. I mean, I read all sorts of points of view that I can't stand so I can understand them. But any right-wing outdated views need to be out. Inevitably, this reveals something to be very problematic. Because that means they have to get rid of certain writers, like George Orwell. So far, it's not something that you see as a mindset in too many universities, but it is sort of leaking its way in. This author says, I made an effort in observing their inconsistency to explain to them that they're being inconsistent. They want to read the great works of literature, but if it doesn't meet modern moral standards, get rid of it. Then how are you going to read the great works of literature? Because so many of them are written in the past and don't meet modern moral standards. Things got more interesting, he said, as Orwell's was discussed. Of course, Orwell famously wrote against their stand as liberals. And he was brilliant about it. But they can't handle that idea. Unfortunately, Orwell's stint, he says, with these students is that, he eventually has to be, he has to go too. I wonder, have they ever read Animal Farm? or 1984? Or did they understand that in what Orwell was writing about is he lived in a time where he saw what socialism was doing. He saw what fascism was doing and what communism was doing, and recognized those forms of socialism, how destructive they would be. Not just in the sense of war, but just to the human mindset and society. So, what then if you can't warn people? You know the old saying that those who don't learn from the past are doomed to repeat it. Those who don't learn the lessons of the past are doomed to repeat it. Well, what Orwell was doing was writing about something that was happening in his time. And many of it's all still true today because human nature hasn't changed that much. We're doomed to repeat all of these failures if this younger generation isn't reading it. And the idea that, well, we can't read it because it doesn't agree with our morals. I mean, trust me when I tell you, if you really want to know what's going on, you're going to have to expose yourself to what other people are thinking and doing. And sometimes you'll expose yourself to a different point of view and go, oh, hang on, they're not as bad as I thought. I kind of get it. Sometimes you'll be proven wrong. How about that? And sometimes not. Sometimes you'll say, yep, justified in everything I believe. But it's a good idea to expose yourself to that. So the idea of some college students wanting to cancel George Orwell. And again, I have to ask the question, before you guys go and cancel this, how many of you have read it? Honestly, how many have read it? In fact, now that I think about this, I would like to go back and read 1984 again. It's been a while. That maybe another round of Atlas Shrugged would really work. Coming up on 8:30, local news coming your way after local news. Update on your weather forecast. 888-97 Woods, the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. I got a whole lot to go through here. I am going to save some for Friday because I like to do a lot of house cleaning on Friday. And I'm trying to get to the topics that are not the same old topics you're hearing every time you turn on one of the news networks or go to your favorite websites for news. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Take Glenn anywhere with the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. Wake Up Wyoming with Glenn Woods on AM 1030 K2 Radio.
8:36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. So for those people, just responding to the last thing I was talking about. Last thing I was talking about was some college students that are all for reading great old literature as long as it meets today's modern moral standards. And the answer is, well, then you're not going to read any great old literature because none of it does. But you should read all sorts of varied literature, even stuff that you really disagree with to get a better. And here's what's going to happen. You read stuff you disagree with, people that you just can't stand. In some cases, you'll go, oh, I was wrong. And sometimes you'll say, well, I was right about them, but not for the reasons that I thought I was going to be right. I still think they're a bunch of jerks and they're dangerous people, but for wholly different reasons than I thought. I mean, all sorts of things can happen. Sometimes you still disagree, but you don't mind those people so much just because you have a better understanding. All sorts of different things will happen if you read other opinions. And also, it'll strengthen the opinions that you do have that are right. You'll strengthen those opinions. So it's worth it, but these college students can't do that. So now George Orwell would be out with them. Smalls says, I feel like we are living in Atlas Shrugged with 1984 right around the corner. Ayn Rand was brilliant. In fact, I have, Smalls, a bumper sticker on my car that says, who is John Galt? Carol says, Fahrenheit 451, another great book they should read. Absolutely. These people, by the way, are sending me notes by texting me off the Wake Up Wyoming app, which you can do, or just hit the chat button and send me a text. Or you can call the show, 888-97-WOODS, 888-97-WOODS. Since I'm picking on college students, bad news for them, yet again.
bitching and a crying, telling me that I'm lying about a job that I never could find.
Yeah, really hard to get a job when you've got a college degree, unfortunately. No, I'm not saying college degrees are all bad. Of course not. Story says a millennial who's been looking for a job for over 4 years says his degrees have offered little value. He said, I can't get anything even at minimum wage. Really? Now, millennials are older than you think. They're not like high school kids, like 19, 20. They're older than that. But anyway, millennial in Virginia with 2 degrees has been job hunting since 2020. He says his degrees haven't helped him find work, and it made him even, in some cases, he says, overqualified for entry-level roles. He's among Americans with college degrees who are having a hard time finding a job. In 2019, he said he's part of first off, he's a photojournalist while working toward a bachelor's degree in multi-platform journalism while at Florida Institute of Technology. He thought it might lead him to a full-time opportunity after he graduated, but then he was laid off. He's 32 years old. This is why I say when you're a millennial, you're older than you might think. This guy's 32 years old. That's what a millennial is. Aside from the occasional freelance gig doing photography and YouTube script writing, which pays very little, he hasn't found any work in his chosen profession. It hasn't been for lack of effort. He says he looks and applies for jobs every week, and he's earned a master's degree in journalism from Georgetown last year. He's even expanded his job search to restaurant and retail jobs, stocking shelves, flipping patties. But he's struggling to even get a second interview for a job. He says that his degree has not opened any doors, and in many cases he's overqualified for various positions. He said, I can't get a job to save my life. While the male unemployment rate is low compared to the past few decades, he's among the men who have been struggling to find work and have even stopped looking altogether. I'm going to offer him, actually he says here, his degree sometimes has worked against him in a job hunt. He shows up with this really nice-looking degree. This is where they say he's overqualified. And, they look at all of that he's offering. Well, we can't afford you. That's part of the problem. They can't afford him. But here's another thing. All right. He is determined to get a job. He had a dream of being a photojournalist or journalist, right? This is what he wants to do. Now, I'm not going to say don't pursue it. He should. However, let's take a look at what I did way back when. Because in my profession, I struggled for a while. Talk radio is a very specific profession to get into. And if you have something that you dream about doing, go for it if that's what you want to do. However, get yourself a gig where you can earn money while you're trying for the profession that you want. If I could offer this guy any advice, I would say, okay, you have your degrees in what you want to do. You start by going to a trade school and getting a skill, because we need tradesmen out there. And I know you may look at, I don't want to be a mechanic. I don't want to be an electrician. Is welding really for me? But there's all sorts of other jobs out there that are like that are good blue-collar jobs that he can make a lot of money at and live very comfortably. And while he's pursuing that job that earns him money with a degree in something, having gone through a technical school, he actually is qualified to do something that we need in America. Then he can, on the side, pursue the profession that he wants. And if the job comes along, great, he can switch over. And always have that option to go back to the blue-collar job if his transition doesn't work out. And I've offered this to many different people over the years as a solution, because it's what happened to me. Again, doing what I do for a living was not something that, I got out of high school and I just became a talk show host. No. It was years trying to get to this position. It was years trying to get here. And there was a lot of back and forth between I did it and I was out of it for a while because the station was sold or I had to move. Or, I mean, it went on and on and on it went. And I knew that was going to be the case. And so, yeah, I had something on the side that I could fall back on so I can get back into this. So that's part of what he has to do. But also there's a lot of people who are stepping out into the world with college degrees that it sounds like a really impressive degree, but it's not a practical job skill. And you and I have talked about this before. Did you spend all of this money to get a college degree in something that is a practical skill? Or is it a college degree in something that's not actually a profession? Because if it's not actually a profession, then you're going to be working at Starbucks the rest of your life. Well, I'm an important person. I'm a smart person because I got this college degree. Are you really? What is your degree in? When you go looking for the businesses out there that are looking for employees and they're willing to pay really well, and it could be a lifelong profession, is that what your degree is in? I mean, I know a couple of young ladies who graduated with degrees in literature, which is really nice to have a degree in literature, but unless you're going to teach literature, what do you do with a degree in literature? That is also the problem as well. And that degree in literature cost you how much? I am right in Evansville. Degrees don't equal education. Too many students do the least necessary to pass the class instead of eagerly trying to learn. Well, and that goes also to on-the-job training. If you can go learn on the job, Shelley and Mills. However, I would hire that dude for sales or clerical work. If he has half the brain, he could do it. Well, you know, it actually wouldn't be a bad idea for him to get into that kind of a thing, sales or clerical work, and then pursue his passion on the side in the hopes that someday it pans out for him. Coming up at 8:46. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Download the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. Listen anywhere and chat live with Glenn during the show on AM 1030 K2 Radio.
8:49 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. Off to the icebox we go, where Frank Gambino is waiting by. Now, Frank, I know this is going to come as a big shock to you, right? But,
of course, yes.
Apparently, you should not worry that you don't have the body of an Olympic athlete.
I don't.
No.
And I don't care.
Yeah, okay.
I never have cared.
Yeah, I never really did? Okay. So the story that I have in front of me, he says, there's people who sit there watching the Olympics, which have gotten underway, and wondered, why don't I look like that? And they make the case, this is the basic of the article here, just the basic part. An Olympic athlete has a full-time job of taking care of that body.
Yes.
Yeah, and you don't.
Right.
Therefore, you do not have a body like an Olympic athlete.
Sometimes the full-time Olympic guys, they're taking care of their body, and they also work a full-time job.
Yes. Now, taking care of their body like that also comes with problems, as you know, because people who are in really, really top shape like that, sometimes that can actually be hard on the body.
Yeah, you get sore and can wreck things. So you got to be really, really careful
now,
there.
For those people who are couch potatoes, going the other extreme is a problem too. Okay, so you don't want to be one extreme or the next, right? But it does go into some detail in the article. Is don't worry about it. These people, in order to have a body like that, put out a ton of sacrifices.
Yes.
So unless you're willing to sacrifice your time, your meals, your family, your friends,
your life.
Yes, you are absolutely not going to look like that. And I do know years ago, there was a young lady, there's a friend of mine who was really in, great shape. Oh, and she wanted to meet Dad. So I introduced him. And then after dating him for a while, she started to complain that he was at the gym all the time. And I said to her, did you not expect that? How do you think not only did he get that way, but he stays that way?
Well, it takes hard work. It just doesn't appear out of thin air.
If you want a guy who's going to pay attention to you, maybe you should join him at the gym.
Yeah, indeed. All righty, in the American Legion Baseball, the state AA tournament begins in Casper on Monday. In the first round game, Sheridan will take on Laramie at 10 a.m. Cheyenne Sixers are the defending state champions, meeting Rock Springs at 1. The Cheyenne Hawks will take on the Gillette Rough Riders at 4. And the Casper Oilers will play at 7 p.m. against Jackson. That'll be at Lansing Field. And then the state championship games for the AA tournament will be a week from tomorrow. Also, in baseball, at the major league level, the Colorado Rockies a winner over the Boston Red Sox down in Denver yesterday, 20-4. 20-4. Brendan Doyle hit a grand slam for the Rockies. The Colorado scored 5 runs in the 4th inning and then 6 more in the 6th inning. They scored in every inning but 2. They had 21 hits in the game. The Rockies, the Red Sox had their bullpen pitchers pitch the entire game, 2 innings here, 3 innings here, and then they had an infielder pitch at the end, so they really didn't seem to care about it, although they did make 4 errors. Rockies will be at San Francisco tomorrow. Collegiate baseball in the Independence League, the Casper Spuds, a loser to the Spearfish Sasquatch 13-9 yesterday in South Dakota. They're 38-8 on the year, and those two teams will meet again tonight in Spearfish. Our Wild Preps Athletes of the Week have been announced. For the girls' winners, Hadley Thompson from Yoder, who was fantastic in the National High School Finals Rodeo. She was 2nd in the all-around, 2nd in the breakaway roping, and 2nd in the go time. And the boys' Athlete of the Week from Wild Preps is Cade Queen, a baseball player from Powell, who had 545, 5 home runs, and 14 RBIs in the West District Tournament. Powell will host the Legion A tournament beginning next week. And the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo moving along today at 1 p.m. at Frontier Park. Yesterday, the daddy of them all in the bareback, R.C. Landingham of Hat Creek, California, with an 84 in the bareback, so he picked up over $2,200 in the 5th performance. In the saddle bronc, Alan Borer from Axtell, Utah, with an 84. He won over $2,300. And another guy who pulled in over $2,300 yesterday and was in bull riding, and Tristan Hutchings from Mountain View, Idaho. He had an 87 in the bulls, and the rodeo continues this afternoon at 1 p.m. That championship short go will be on Sunday at Frontier Park.
Hadley Thompson from Yoder?
Hadley,
yeah, okay. Because
her sister, Hayden Thompson, was a national champion in go tying at the high school level.
That sounded familiar to me. I think you've given those names before. Yeah. And we do have Chet in Yoder who listens to this program every single day. And I think I've asked him, these two? Because it's not a very big town.
Yeah, but great rodeo folks there.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Frank. Coming up on some local business we have to take care. We're going to roll into news time after that. National local update on the weather forecast. Your phone calls to Wake Up Wyoming.
Go, go, go!
Turn on the microphone, I cough right into it. It's Wake Up Wyoming. It's a Thursday. And despite the smoke, I swear I can see the weekend from here.
Today's show is sponsored by Home Defense Paperweights. They look like rocks, but, well, they're actually rocks.
Just don't throw your pet rock at them, for God's sakes. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, once again, stop oil activists are at it again. Basically, the green police.
Okay, so it's 3708, paper plastic.
Plastic. That's the magic word. What? Green police. You picked the wrong day to mess with the ecosystem, plastic boy.
Battery! Let's go, take the house, come on! Put the rind down. Sir, that's a compost infraction.
Uh-oh! Did you install these bulbs?
Oh.
Tragedy strikes tonight where a man has just been arrested for possession of an incandescent light bulb.
What do you guys think about plastic bottles now?
The water setting is at 105.
You got a TDI here? Clean diesel.
You're good to go, sir.
Good afternoon, officers. Are those foam cuffs you're drinking from?
Yeah.
Please step out of the car and put them on the hood.
So here's the latest that they're doing. Just Stop Oil activists who have no idea what they're asking for. And by the way, this activist that I'm looking at being arrested in the picture here, he's riding a bicycle. And if you're wondering, well, what could be wrong with riding a bicycle? It's fine, he's riding a bicycle. Well, okay. Let's see. The tires made out of petroleum products. We oil the chain. All of the metal in the bicycle had to be forged using things like coal and petroleum. But okay, anyway. Plus the clothes he's wearing. Climate activists joined Just Stop Oil in attempting to disrupt flights from Heathrow Airport in London to Bonn Airport in Germany as part of a coordinated action to end burning what they call fossil fuels by 2030. So what they want to do is stop airplanes, commercial flights from traveling anywhere. Now, once again, this is where I say, please, you guys keep doing this. Please do. Because people who would normally be sympathetic to you, you're losing them. Someone gets on an airplane, they need to go somewhere, a business, pleasure, whatever it might be. And there's some climate activists on the runway. You can't take off. Actions led to the arrests of activists at Heathrow, causing temporary flight suspension. Similar disruptions were in Spain and Switzerland. The protests have mixed reactions, with many calling for legal consequences. And once again, there's got to be some actual legal consequences for this. Story says, given the recent sentencing of other Just Stop Oil activists. Oh, by the way, yeah, there are some activists that have really gone overboard in what they were trying to do, and they were each sentenced to 5 years in jail. And they're going to have to serve it. And, oh, my God, you can't do that to us? Oh, yes, we can. And for the first time, some cult of climate change activists, for the first time, are actually having to face real consequences, which is why I say, please, let's keep doing this. Let's make them suffer whatever consequences we can. So they finally start getting the message. But if they keep acting like this, they're losing a lot of people who would normally support them. All right. Off we go to the phones. Jude wants to talk about our guest from earlier, about last hour. Dave North was on with us. Hey, Jude.
Hey, yeah. I like Dave and know him quite well. I didn't really get an answer though when I texted you that question of who voted to let Sweeney get that put on the BOCC's to go on the ballot.
Right.
And you remember Rose worked her butt off getting almost 2,000 something signatures to get the property tax thing put on the ballot, and we couldn't get it done. But Sweeney walks in there and gets 3 commissioners to. Yeah, we'll put it on the ballot because they get to do a couple of them, I think, every time this comes up or anything comes up that needs to be put on the ballot. But I didn't get an answer out of Dave which ones voted for it. I think that would be really important to know.
Okay. Because
we do have to replace a couple of them this year. And I'd like to know who pretty much backdoored the pooch on us on that.
Okay. All right, and I also noticed he was the only county commissioner that was coming on the program to talk to people about anything.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, I like Dave, and he's gone a long way for us. You know, he does fight for us and stuff. So I'll be voting for Dave, that's for sure. The other seat is still up for grabs. And then we've got to contend with Peter Nicolason and Melanie next time. And both of those guys need to go. There's no doubt about it. Okay. And I wouldn't replace them with Bertolio because it's like I said, it's the same chess pieces, you know, just in different positions around the board, and we get the same outcome.
Right.
You know, big business, we need this, we need that, but let's close down our power plants and let's put in more regulations on landowners and homeowners and, you know, how that works for our property tax. We didn't get nothing out of that. In fact, they did get their 30%. And a lot of people are suffering over that. And now with adding more to our property tax to support the senior citizen center, they get a lot of donations. They're like the Boys and Girls Club. You know, McMurray's donated to them, True's donated to them. A lot of people leave a good amount of money for them. They don't need to be on the ballot. And, you know, like I said, I have a friend who gets those meals, and if they're costing $7.20, why don't we just go to the supermarket and get a Hungry Man with 3 pieces of chicken, mashed potatoes, and corn for $4.49.
Right. So what did you think about his answer for the gravel pit? Because it sounded like this is not a done deal. In order for True to be able to put the gravel pit together, he's got 7 different things that he's got to comply with.
Well, yeah, but you know what? It's a done deal. They adopted, like I told you, they adopted that land use plan illegally and made the gravel pit possible. And Dave is just one vote. So, you know, he can use that either as a scapegoat of saying, I can't really do anything about it because I'm only one vote. But the other 4, they're going to vote for it. You know they are. Dallas went to school with one of the True kids, and Peter Nicolason, he worked for the Trues. And, you know, it's already set in stone as far as I'm concerned. They'll find a way around it and get it. And I have no doubt about it, but I'm not going to allow them to sit back and go, oh, well, I'm only one vote, so I can't do anything about it. You know, what you do is you turn down the conditional use permit and you make them go to the state and have to apply through the state as a large mine company. And then the restrictions come in where, you know, they have to comply with a lot more than 7 little stupid things. I mean, it won't change the character of the neighborhood. Well, yeah, it's going to change the character of the neighborhood. It's going from a residential area into a mining outfit.
Right.
You know, and then there's like 7 criteria. And I've seen them pass them before with them not making the 7 criteria. So I'm calling bull.
Okay.
And I see it coming down the road. They're going to let them do it.
All right. Thank you, Judy.
All right. Have a good one.
You too. All right. It's always important to let Judy call and vent.
Good morning, Eric.
Yes. Good morning. Let's go.
What is your destination today, Eric?
Destination is work, just like every day. Go. Start driving.
Would you prefer the standard way?
No, I'd prefer you take me through China.
China is 15,000 miles from here. Loading maps and alternative language.
No, abort.
Aborting trip to work. What is your destination today, Eric?
Please, I am begging you, just take me to work.
Engaging climate control system.
No, enough with the climate control. Just drive.
Sensing nerves level rising. Activating relaxation music.
No, I just want to drive.
It might be your last chance to drive.
Wake Up Wyoming goes anywhere you do with the Wake Up Wyoming app. Free download for Apple and Android. This is K2 Radio.
To help you take control of the situation with your family and manage the disease together. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. Visit alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
9:22 is the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. All right, so the latest from the cult of climate change. Now they want to come after your rice, too. There's nothing left for you to eat, and at some point they're going to come after bugs, even though they want you to eat bugs right now. It's going to happen. All right, now I'm going to try to play this, if I can, from the World Economic Forum.
What we have is an existential climate crisis. We've talked about methane. Methane from flaring is known. But rice paddy cultivation, waste management, and dairy husbandry can help you enormously with combating methane. Methane is 80 times more dangerous than carbon dioxide. It gets only 2% of climate financing today. We have a misalignment with what we need to focus on. We're talking about working with 15 countries and taking out 10 million tons of methane by focusing on rice paddy, on animal and dairy, and on waste management.
Okay, so rice paddies and animal and dairy, to name a couple. So let's blame rice now for climate change. Rice is to blame for around 10% of global emissions of methane. Rice cannot be ignored. That's what he said there. So now we have to get rid of rice, too. Okay. No, this just gets absolutely insane. There's nothing that you can't do. There's nothing that you can't eat that the cult of climate change is not going to come after in one way or another. I don't understand what we're supposed to have left and how we're supposed to cultivate or make any of this stuff, because no matter what we make, doesn't matter. No matter what we make, they have to come after it, don't they? Because no matter what you do, it has an impact, obviously, right? Yeah, so if you go out to plant crops somewhere, this is going to have some kind of an impact, according to them. So you can't do that. If you try to raise animals, that's going to have some kind of an impact. So no matter what you do, right? So now it's supposed to be down toward, just eating bugs. But at some point, they're going to come after that, too. Because not only would we have to raise bugs, but bugs are a big part of our ecosystem. So if we went out and got bugs out of nature, now we're destroying the ecosystem. What's next?
Welcome to Wiggle Burgers. Would you like to see a menu?
Sure, but I probably just want a rib burger and some fries. I'm in a hurry. I'm really hungry.
You might like the grasshopper bacon bits or the mealworm arancini. Maybe try some worm salt soup.
But wait, what the heck is the mescal worm salad?
Oh, those little guys are great. We crushed some fresh this morning.
You crushed?
Have to do it while they're still larvae, or there's that horrible crunching sound. Besides, most people don't like exoskeleton in their mouth.
Just what the hell are you serving here?
Sir, Wiggle Burgers is a bug restaurant. We serve only organic, sustainable bug and bug larvae. Gotta keep that carbon footprint down. Save the planet, you know?
Oh, please tell me they brought Candid Camera back.
I don't understand.
Yeah, you're probably too young for that television show. It was on back when a person had to get up and go change the channel.
So you remember when the world was in black and white?
Well, most things were black and white back then. I have no idea what the hell is going on now. Look, I'm in a rush. Just give me a bowl of cereal. That should be safe enough.
Mealworm puffs okay? Do you want nut milk or freshly squeezed cicada larvae?
You don't just have cow's milk, do you?
That's disgusting.
You know, if you keep grossing people out like this, you'll kill everybody's appetite and starve the human race.
Guaranteed population control. That sounds perfect.
To be honest with me, do you really eat this stuff?
Oh, come on now. If you advocate for this stuff, you don't actually have to do it.
No, but the rest of us better, or else.
Damn straight.
So, okay, let's see. Bugs, you won't be able to eat that anymore. I guess we're all supposed to just starve to death. I don't think any of you are going to become vegans anytime soon, right?
Can I get a beef taco, extra cheese, and a side of guac, please?
We don't do that here, sir. Can I offer you our vegan gluten-free broccoli tacos with cashew cheese?
Well, what the hell did you just say to me?
Broccoli tacos.
I asked for a taco, not a vegetable.
It is a taco, sir. We just use broccoli instead of meat, and spinach wraps instead of tortillas.
Oh, cool. Got it. So it's not a taco at all?
It is.
How about some chicken fajitas? Can I do chicken fajita?
No chicken fajitas either, sir. How about some crispy kale lettuce wraps?
A what wrap?
Crispy kale wrapped in lettuce with a side of vegan coleslaw.
So it's a salad wrapped in a salad with a side of salad.
It's light and delicious.
All right, look, can I just do like a burger or something?
Absolutely.
Huh, cool, finally. Thank you.
What kind would you like?
Just like a regular hamburger.
Yeah, we don't do that. How about a grilled cauliflower burger?
What?
We use cauliflower instead of a patty and flaxseed crackers instead of a bun.
Yeah, that's not a burger. That's a flour on a cracker.
It's really delicious.
Can I just get a sandwich?
Sure. What kind?
Just like something simple, like a turkey sub or something.
Yeah, we don't do turkey here, sir. How does a tofu spinach sub sound?
It sounds depressing.
Instead of turkey, you get tofu. Instead of bread, you get almond. And instead of eating animals, you save the planet.
Okay, listen, lady, I don't care about the planet when I'm hungry.
The tofu sub is one of my favorites.
What about like a tuna fish sandwich?
Yeah, we don't do fish here, sir. How about a raw asparagus cashew milk?
How about you serve some real food?
Sir, we firmly believe...
See, there's a line in there that I really do like. I don't care about the planet when I'm hungry. I think that actually goes a long way. Because there's people who want to do all of these things that they think to save themselves and to save the planet until they actually get hungry. They want to just stop oil, and if we actually did, then they're going to figure out what kind of lifestyle they're going to have to live, and they're really going to hate it. And they're going to realize how destructive that lifestyle is to the planet, and they're really going to hate that too. And so they're going to want to go back to oil at some point. They don't realize what they're asking here. I don't really care about the planet when I'm cold and homeless and hungry. That's really what it's going to come down to. So one of the things I think we ought to do is grab these people, these extremist activists, and let's just all put them somewhere, all of them, on some big deserted island somewhere, and say, okay, this is what it's like to live the way you say that we're all supposed to live. You do it. We'll get back to you in a year, those of you that survived, that weren't eaten by the others, and we'll ask you how you feel about it then. Coming up on 9:30, local news coming your way after a local news update on the weather forecast. You and I get back into it again. Phone lines are open, 888-97-WOODS. That's 888-97-WOODS. Talk about what I'm talking about. Change the subject. That's all fine. I'll roll with it. It's Wake Up Wyoming.
Got something to say to Glenn? Use the chat on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app and get your opinions straight to the studio with K2 Radio.
9:36 the time. It's Wake Up Wyoming. All right, 888-97 was the phone number, 888-97-WOODS. Hey, Cheyenne, you're up for this one. Crime in Cheyenne, according to this story, has decreased by 20%. Cheyenne found the first half of the year, and not right now, though, because Frontier Days is on, so it's up by 100%. But all right, compared to the same time in 2023. And I think this is from your Tribune Eagle. Crimes against property decreased by 26%. Crimes against people decreased by 17%. Crimes against society by 4%. However, crimes against bad music continued. So if your neighbor or somebody driving down the street playing really bad music, that's just on the increase. Theft, larceny-related crimes have been a notable decrease so far in 2024, according to data released by police. Incidents of motor vehicle parts theft decreased by over half. I have a theory. Oh, and burglary, 19% down. Property damage, vandalism, counterfeiting, forgery have decreased quite a bit. I have a theory. Because now Cheyenne is no longer soft on crime like it was a little while ago when no one was being persecuted. Micah's on the phone. Morning, Micah.
Good morning. You know, for quite a time, people have been talking about their fear of Trump becoming a dictator and staying in office forever and a day like Putin has.
Yeah.
But, you know, now with this whole Kamala Harris thing, where is dictatorship really coming from?
Yeah.
I mean, if I were a Democrat, a registered Democrat and a diehard, I would be livid that I had one choice. And that choice was already made for me.
And if you take a look at, in fact, let me, while I got you here real quick here, I'm going to call this up. I had mentioned this earlier this morning. Let's take a look at the woman herself and some things that she tried to get done over the years. And see if this seems dictatorial to you. Let's see. Medicare for all. It's mandatory. Private health insurance. Ban it. Support giving taxpayer-funded coverage to illegal immigration, which would be mandatory. Banning fracking. These are just some of the things. There's quite a few on the list here. But the idea that these are things that you are not allowed to make a decision on. Banning gas-powered automobiles by 2030. You have to drive electric. This sounds dictatorial to me.
What's scary, too, Glenn, is the fact that, you know, then why do we need a Congress?
Right. We just have Harris in office, and she'll just go ahead and dictate all these things.
Right. Yep.
Okay.
So anyway, that's my tearful comment for the
day. But before I let you go, though, how's parking out in front of your house?
How's
parking?
Parking?
Yeah. Are you in Cheyenne?
It's fine, because I'm on the south side.
Oh, you're on the south.
Remember, we moved out here in Fritzlar to go incognito, so we're about as incognito as we can be.
So you no longer live, didn't you used to live right by or real close to, or am I thinking of somebody else?
No, we have been on the south side ever since.
Oh, okay. You're good.
We got here.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to remember who was it that I know.
The better it was. So here we are among all the druggies.
Oh, okay. That's much better than being amongst all the tourists that are there for Frontier Days. You need to be by the druggies.
I'll have to tell you, there has been quite some activity coming and going. So I'm sure that some of my neighbors are keeping the visitors at Frontier Days.
Yes,
Cheyenne
well stocked. Yes,
well supplied.
I'm sure they are. Yes, all right. Thank you, Micah. On that note for Cheyenne Frontier Days, got a problem with the CPD statistics, says Kent and Cheyenne. It was found that the entry reporting on the National Incident-Based Reporting System was bad in the last quarter, according to the article in the Washington Examiner. Okay, so you think the statistics are off. Interesting. See, I was thinking if the numbers were anywhere near true, it's because they finally started not just arresting but prosecuting people in Cheyenne. Because I know for a while there they were having a problem with the prosecutor's office. So if someone would get arrested for a crime, but then they would get let go because there was no way to prosecute anybody. No one was being prosecuted, out they were. And so criminals began to spread the word that, hey, you don't get in any trouble in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and crime had gone up. So maybe now if they're finally prosecuting people again, crime goes down. But like I said, since Frontier Days is full swing at this point, that means crime is probably over 200% what it was before. And as Micah said, if she's on the south side, the people on the south side are supplying Frontier Days people with everything that they need, most of which, as you can imagine, is nowhere near even legal. But that's what keeps Cheyenne. Oh, by the way, there's a, I don't know this personally, I just would drive by it. For those who don't know, in Cheyenne, Wyoming, right in downtown, there's a strip club called the Green Door. It's a green building. And people started sending me notes, hey, did you know that the Green Door is closed? Really? During Frontier Days? Because they usually do a lot of business during Frontier Days. And someone told me that the owner had died. Or so I heard anyway. Wow, that's really going to, people who want to take advantage of that during Frontier Days are going to have to go all the way to the edge of town, almost to the Colorado border now. That's a big source of revenue. 942 Wake Up Wyoming.
Want to talk to Glenn? Call 888-97-WOODS or chat him on the Wake Up Wyoming mobile app. This is AM 1030 K2 Radio.
9:47 the time. Wake Up Wyoming off. We go to the Icebox. Frank Campino's waiting by. Frankly, I brought them up before. Since we have Frontier Days going on, there's the Chuck Wagon Breakfast, which is put on by the Kiwanis Club, where they flip pancakes.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it really is.
It's amazing how many people they serve and how many pancakes, and they flip those things right on the plate.
Yes.
And they're good 100% of the time. I don't think I've ever seen them hit the ground.
No, in fact, I think the pancake probably tastes better because they get a chance to air out before they hit the ground or hit the plate. And for those people who don't know, is they get all sorts of local celebrities. The governor does it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, all sorts of people get in there. Representatives from our local military at the military base and so on. But anyway, they get all these people lined up. And they cook the pancakes. And when the pancake is done, they scoop it up off the grill with the spatula and they flip it high into way up in the air. And people are standing around with trays and plates, catching them. That's how you get your breakfast. Okay, so this year, 1.4 million guests, 4.5 million pancakes.
Wow. Oh, by the end of the week?
Yeah. Takes about 5,000 pounds of batter to pull off the event each year. 425 gallons of syrup. Do you say syrup or syrup?
Syrup.
I say syrup, yeah. Takes about 30,000 people in all will be served.
30,000?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
That's a lot of syrup for 30,000 people.
They started doing that in 1966, and they started serving the pancakes with, this would be the 58th year that they've done this.
And it's free.
It is, yeah. Well, it's just such a good time to watch everybody doing this. And, again, it's interesting to see the kind of local celebrities that they will get. Again, the governor will do it, various politicians. They'll go ahead and see if people are available. Like, let's go over to the Air Force Base and see if the commanding general is available. I mean, whoever. They can get over there to flip pancakes. And since you're doing it all week long, that's a lot of guests that are going through. And, of course, this is a big deal for the Kiwanis Club, and the tourists just love watching this. So, if you want to get a breakfast, tomorrow morning, head to downtown over by the depot.
It's like 7 a.m., isn't it?
Yes, I think it is, yeah. Head over by the depot, and you can't miss it because the Kiwanis, it almost looks like a wagon bus. You know, it's pulled up, and you'll see the whole thing set up over there. And then just watch them start to cook and flip burgers into the air, and go get yourself some of that action. And no, it is not required that you catch your own breakfast.
Aha. But can you get in line again for more?
You know, I don't think with that many people showing up, Frank, I don't think anyone's going to notice.
Well, it could take you an hour to get a pancake.
And the ones that, if anyone ever does land on the ground, it's okay. It's free.
Oh, there you go. All right, well, the Cheyenne Frontier Days Rodeo moves along this afternoon with performance number 6 and the Daddy from all from yesterday, and performance 5 in the bareback. R.C. Landingham from Hat Creek, California with an 84, so he won over $2,200. In the Saddle Bronc, Alan Bohr, he's from Axtell, Utah with an 84, he won over $2,300. And in the bull riding, Tristan Hutchings from Mount View, Idaho with an 87, and he won over $2,300. The rodeo starts at 1 p.m. at Frontier Park and runs the rest of the week. That championship short go will be on Sunday. In American Legion Baseball, the Double-A tournament will be in Casper starting on Monday. In the first round, Sheridan will take on Laramie at 10 a.m. at Lansing Field. Cheyenne Sixers will meet Rock Springs at 1, Gillette and the Cheyenne Hawks at 4, and the Casper Oilers and Jackson at 7 p.m. And then the championship games will be a week from tomorrow over at Lansing Field. In Major League Baseball, the Colorado Rockies will have today off. They'll be at San Francisco tomorrow. Rockies bombarded the Boston Red Sox yesterday at Coors Field 20-4 with 21 hits, 5 runs in the 4th inning, 6th in the 6th inning. Brenton Doyle with a grand slam. The Red Sox used bullpen pitchers for the entire game, with the exception of the end when they put an infielder in there to pitch. They made 4 errors. So the Rockies, that's a memorable game. And they'll be at San Francisco tomorrow. Collegiate baseball in the Independence League, the Casper Spuds, a loser to Spearfish Sasquatch 13-3. Spuds are 38-8, and they'll play the Sasquatch tonight again in Spearfish. And our Ohio Preps Athletes of the Week have been announced. On the ladies' side, Hadley Thompson from Yoder is the girls' winner, and she was second in the all-around at the National High School Finals Rodeo last week in Rock Springs. She finished second in the breakaway roping and second in the go time. And our boys' winner, Cade Queen, a baseball player from Powell, who had .545 with 5 home runs and 14 RBIs in the West District Tournament last week. Powell will host the Legion A tournament beginning this weekend. And that's it in sports.
And so if the Rockies are not playing today, this is where the fans celebrate. That means they're not losing today.
No, they're not losing. And they should have saved some of those runs for the future. Yeah. But you know what? You'll be a bombard some team with 20 runs. You're like, that felt really good.
Yeah.
And then you don't want to embarrass the other team, and the other team goes, listen, let's get this thing over with. You know?
Especially
as long as you're not trying to rub it in.
I mean, it's bad enough when you lose to the Rockies, but when you lose by that much. I mean, I can understand letting the Rockies have a mercy win now and then.
They'll never let them back to Boston again.
No. That's just embarrassing.
Really? They should be playing in Rhode Island or something.
Ew. Why? Why would you pick on people from Rhode Island like that?
Rhode Island.
Really? Okay.
Providence or something.
Now everybody in Rhode Island's mad at us, Frank. Thank you for that. Can never go to Rhode Island again. It's coming up on some local business we got to take care of. We're going to roll into news time after that. See, my vacation in Rhode Island is over at this point. Tomorrow's Friday. It's going to be open phones the entire program. I always give you open phones at some point every day, but Fridays it's the whole program. So vent, get it off your chest. To Wake Up Wyoming.